What is going on, fellas? As you can see, we're moving. We are walking right now. We are on the walking pad. Yes, I invested. I got a standing desk and then a walking pad. I'm currently at home, moved out of college, but I thought it would be a great idea. I'm on a digestion walk right now, just ate meal 3 to give you guys some ball knowledge and do a video on how to adhere to a caloric deficit. I've lost 30 pounds in the past 11 weeks, I want to say. Maybe a little bit less, maybe around 20, but it's not super aggressive. And it's pretty reasonable, but throughout this video I'm going to be sipping on a Summit soda. Going to be absolutely peak. Again, getting my steps in currently at 11,000. You're not going to be able to see it, but 11,585 out of 15,000, and it is 404. But without further ado, let's get started with the video. How to adhere to your caloric deficit. All right, number one thing I see on TikTok: stop slashing your calories if you've never dieted before. If you are someone that has never even been in a caloric deficit or doesn't even know where to start, and you just see people on TikTok getting to a certain level of leanness that you want in 4 weeks because they just completely slash their calories, do not do that. You're not going to be able to adhere to it. You don't really have the willpower. You don't have the mental fortitude in order to adhere to a caloric deficit if you've never been in one. And you don't even know your own body. You don't know what your body can handle. Like some people, they have really bad cravings at night. Some people have really bad cravings in the morning. It's all dependent on your own body, and you have to learn your body, and the only way to do that is to diet. And I would not recommend going aggressive because that's just going to cook you. And if you want to be aggressive in some way and get there fast, do it with TDEE, because I'll explain it on the next slide, but total daily energy expenditure. Expend more energy, aka getting steps. Just stop being a sheep, what the top creators do, because they know their body. They've been lifting for so long, and there's no point. I'm not even aggressive dieting right now. I'll talk about my calories towards the end if you're interested, but please, it's just mental fortitude. You're not gonna be able to do it if you are never aggressively dieted. Okay, so now what I was talking about, TDEE maxing, right? So total daily energy expenditure, your energy output. So it's much harder to get 15,000 steps short term than adhere to 1,200 calories. And what I mean by this is it takes more time to get 15,000 steps, and 1,200 calories you just eat. It doesn't take time to eat, so you're going to do it anyways. But I would not recommend going 1,200 calories or even like super low relative to your body weight. If you're like 7 feet tall, do not go like 2,000 calories. You're going to cook yourself. It's going to be much harder to adhere to, as opposed to if you're getting a lot of steps. It'd be much easier and you'd burn more calories. So an example of this is 5,000 steps daily. I'm sorry if I sound a little winded because I am walking, but 5,000 steps daily, you can only eat 2,000 calories around, let's arbitrary number of 2,000 calories. I don't even know the height and weight of this person. But if you get 15,000 steps, it's going to burn on average like 400 to 700 calories per person. So you could eat up to 2,600 and still lose the same amount of weight. And more food is better quality of life. And when you're TDE maxing, go into zone 2 heart rate. As you can see, I'm not sprinting right now. I'm not jogging or doing anything crazy. My heart rate's in zone 2. I'm just kind of chilling, walking, burning some calories, getting some steps in. Then on the right, those are the steps. This is what it's been looking like. Of course, over 15,000 daily. You gotta tick the boxes, man. Keep the crazy tricep striations on the right there. But anyways, routine. This is so underrated and so important when it comes to being in a caloric deficit, because if you don't have a routine, you're not gonna know how much, like, you build this with time, but how much steps to have by an X time. Like always in the morning before I lift, I try to have at least 6,000. So that kind of gives me room and easier to work with to hit that 15,000. It's much easier to adhere to your goals. So let's have an example. If you step every morning, you've developed that routine, and then you just randomly stop, you just don't do it for one day, you're going to be all screwed up. Everything's going to be pushed back, and you're going to be struggling to get whatever step goal you have. You're going to lose momentum, and you're going to be very behind, and it's just going to be a downward spiral. You're not going to be able to adhere to it. So do not just, of course, this is not going to be able to be ideal every day, but try to have a routine set in stone, eating the similar things every day, doing the same things every day. I mean, that's what it's going to take if you're going to try to get pretty lean. Obviously, you can have some flexibility, but try to limit it, because it just helps you adhere to your deficit and adhere to your goals. Okay, this is a big one. You're going to be hungry. You got to have delayed gratification. You got to have mental fortitude, the mental ability to be able to push hard in a deficit, especially when you're hungry. You got to lean into the hunger. I know in the mornings I hold off for as long as possible, and I get pretty hungry, but I lean into it and accept it, and accept the fact that I'm losing weight and it's temporary. It's not going to last forever. I'm grateful to be able to manipulate my food, and you guys have to have that perspective, because that will completely change the game for you guys. And stop trying to just get in and out of a deficit in 4 weeks. It's not going to go like that. I've been in one for 11 weeks almost now, and I'm still feeling fine. My sleep's still good. Everything's good, and I'm getting pretty lean, as you can see on the right. If you try to get in and out of 4 weeks, you're going to drastically cut calories because you need to get as lean as quick as possible in relation to the aggressive dieting here. And your performance in the gym will be cooked. You're on so little calories, minimal carbs, most likely, if you're trying to keep your protein and fats optimal. And you're going to be cooked those 4 weeks. You're going to be out of commission. That month is going to absolutely suck. Of course, you're probably going to get leaner faster than if you were to not like do an aggressive diet, but you got to do it slower and have some delayed gratification. Your quality of life will be much better. Your why. This is very important. If you're not doing it for a proper motive, you're not going to be able to adhere to it as opposed to someone who is. So, what examples of not proper motive is doing it for the huzz. Like literally, if you're just doing it for spring break for college, there's so many of my friends I've seen just, oh yeah, I'm getting lean for spring break, so all the girls will like look at me, you know? That's just the wrong motive, and that's just a pride standpoint. That's something that you won't feel fulfilled in doing at the end of the day. But for me, this is an example of why I'm doing it, is basically to learn more about myself, especially when things get tough, especially when I'm hungry. It teaches me mental fortitude. It's going to leak into other aspects of my life, and pushing my body is an example of discipline. It's an example of pushing myself to the limits when I really don't want to. I'm not going to lie. There's times where I don't want to go to the gym. I love the gym, but I don't want to go to the gym because I'm just tired and demotivated, especially if my routine gets thrown off. And I eventually do want to compete. So I want to see what it feels like, what I look like, the look. And so I could accommodate myself and understand that I've been here before. Obviously not getting stage lean, but I've been relatively here before. And I can understand how to push my body to my limits, and I've done this before, so I have some experience. Like, it's always easier on the second prep as opposed to the first one. So this is kind of not like mock prep, but pretty lean, I'd say. Okay, so general caloric guidelines. Currently 15,000 steps every day. I am, as we're walking here, I'm almost at 12,000. I'm actually going to up the speed a little bit, but like I was saying, here are my general caloric guidelines. As you can see, I'm currently eating 2,600 calories a day. I started at 28, now at 2,600. I'm 6'4", 20 years old, weigh about 200 pounds right now. So I started at 28, now I'm eating 26. Again, that's still a lot of calories relative for me. Like, I could be slashing to like 2,000 if I just didn't TDE and I wanted to be aggressive, but I would feel like absolute crap. So now to get into the macros and the breakdowns, I switched my Aptic chronometer, so that's the GOAT. The net carbs, that is something that is really important for the cut, because dietary fibers, insoluble carbs, it's not going to get used as glycogen. So make sure you guys are actually keeping track of your net carbs. If you're having 647 bread pre-lift, you're going to be cooked because that's all dietary fiber. But anyways, protein, depending on how aggressive, go 0.72 to 1.1 grams per pound of body weight. I'm just going 1 right now because I am deep in a deficit, but not going super aggressive. So around 1 is good. And then if you're not going super aggressive, or if you're just maintaining and watching this video, go 0.72. I know I'm going to drop down to like 180 grams of protein, 175 grams of protein. I just don't need it when I'm at maintenance, because I'll have all those carbs, that glycogen, and my body's not in like a high cortisol state. Fat is very important. We want to keep this relatively high, 0.3 to 0.5 grams. As you can see, I'm about 0.3 on the lower end, because simply I'm cutting in. Fats are 9 calories per gram, so they are very calorically dense, but around 60 is usually the sweet spot for me. Obviously, it's going to be different from you guys. And then carbs, try to have a little bit, try to have carbs decently high if you can, if it's within your caloric range. But typically what I do is I just fill in the rest with carbs, and then I have the majority of my carbs pre and post lift. Post lift is very important just as much as pre, because it'll replenish your glycogen stores after they've been depleted and start the process, of hypertrophy and all that jazz. But it's super important that you guys lock in on the diet. Don't go too aggressive so you guys can adhere to it. We're all going to be cool for the summer. We're all going to make it. That's pretty much it. But anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, tap into the Discord. I might have something big coming out soon about, like, it's kind of similar to what Keenan does. I'm literally just copying, bro. I got standing desk like him. I got the walking pad like him. And I might have like a little thing coming out like him. But anyways, tap into the Discord. It's always in the description. Use code LONGO and EKKOVISION. All the products I literally got. Let's see if you guys can see. All those supplements right there. Not all EKKOVISION, but a good majority. And then I also have a Gympin code. Tap in LONGOLIFTS, save you some on Gympins, seatbelts, anything in general. But hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys in the next one.